what we'll see once we have this mandatory digital ID, if we don't, well, before we beat it, because I think we will, is that every moral panic will be responded to with something along some kind of extension of the digital ID. So, every few months there's a story about something really bad that's happened with social media, or with children accessing the internet, or children being able to buy things online that they shouldn't be able to do. And every single time we have one of these cases, the question will be, why aren't we using the digital ID on the internet to stop that from happening, or to control that, or to monitor that? And it will become then something that also impacts how freely people can speak.
It will make more efficient the system that already has 30 people a day being arrested for social media posts.
Absolutely could. Yeah. We're in a real moment of peril for free speech in this country, and a time of identity politics. And is it not a very good idea to introduce identity cards in that scenario?
Quite. So we've covered a lot of ground. Before we take things over to the Substack to answer some of our Substackers' questions, which will no doubt be even more thorough than mine, is there anything else that you think we need to tie the bow on this issue? Maybe
it's some of ministers' own words, because some people watching this might think, that if you buy what the government has said at face value, it's just going to be used for right to work checks, right? It's only got this one single use. So you've speculated about if it were to be used in this and that way and for other reasons. There was, and I think it's important to use the government's kind of own words in describing then what really is going to happen. There was a junior minister who was on TV shortly after this announcement was made, who said the first use case for it is around the right to work checks by the end of this parliament. It's a big change, he said. So we're not saying we're going to boil the ocean in one go, because the public would really be sceptical of that. We're saying we're starting with this issue of right to work check first, but there are loads of other applications for digital ID. I think that's the quiet bit out loud. That's saying, we
boil
can
the
see,
ocean.
boil the ocean.
What a turn of phrase to throw in there.
So it is like literally the kind of boiling frog scenario. Like, if we do this gently enough, you won't realise the extent to which this is going. Then you've got the government's explainer page, which doesn't just talk about right to work. It talks about applying for government and private sector services using the digital ID scheme, renters, welfare, childcare. You have to store this on your phone. What about those of us who don't want to have a smartphone or don't have one? That it will be used to prove your identity when voting in elections, opening a bank account, proving your age. So all the things that we've spoken about. Sharing data with third parties, there's a section on that where it's permitted under the UK law. That can happen too. In the letter that was sent, the government letter that was sent round to parliamentarians, a copy of that was shared with me, and that again talks about that this is a significant cross-government programme, and it will be used for cases from applying for benefits online to proving your age, opening bank accounts, and they're even going to consult on whether digital ID should be issued to children from 13 years old. If you were watching Keir Starmer give this announcement and say that it was just to stop the boats, whatever other nonsense phrase that he used, you would not have any idea that any of that was actually underneath the plans. But I do think that there are enough people in the British public who realise that he's treated them like idiots, who have said, no, thank you very much. We're not buying it. We don't believe you. We don't trust you. And we're never going to have a digital ID.
On that, then, my last question will be, how exactly is this defeated? Tony Blair obviously was defeated. This hasn't passed. It's got to still pass through the Commons and the Lords. What can the people who oppose this do, the British citizens do, who want to stop this coming about?
Well, obviously, I'm going to say, please, please, please follow Big Brother Watch, sign up for our updates and so on, because we're going to be running a national campaign against this. So things like targeting certain MPs it might be your MP who is someone who's on the fence, who we might be able to win round. We will be putting up a massive campaign on this. We will try our hardest to create a situation where this doesn't get through the Commons, where it doesn't pass into law. But it is going to be really tough because, of course, Starmer's got an absolutely massive majority. So even though the public hate this, in fact, even Palantir, someone from Palantir has come out and said, no, we wouldn't touch this. It's so unpopular. Even we wouldn't want this contract. This is seriously bombed as a policy, but he's got the numbers to push it through Parliament. So we're going to put up the fight of our lives in Parliament. We need the public, we need everyone who cares about this to come on board and take action at the right moments in order to try and stop it getting through Parliament. But even if it does get into law, as with the Blair ID card scheme, there are more things that we can do. We won't give up the fight and we'll try to get it repealed. Every other party in Parliament, every single other one is against this. So we're on a really good starting basis. And then the other thing is that those of us who are just going to not comply will have to stick together and find sensible ways around that. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I said this with COVID passes, and it was critical to how we defeated COVID passes in the end. That for those of us who don't want to live in a country where we're governed by digital IDs and we have to show our pass, in order to just live our lives every day, we will just have to say no. And non-compliance is going to be critical to defeating this in the long run as well.
Thanks for watching this clip from The Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode, and for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.